SBI, Axis Bank are minor laggards in trade. Anil Rego, the founder and fund manager at Right Horizons PMS, joins in now. Anil, pleasure to speak to you on NDTV Profit. What do you make of the momentum that has really picked up in the market today? Is the worst over now?
Yeah, I think there has been some bit of a consolidation, after a good rally. Of course, the rally was significant on, say, small caps especially and mid caps as well. It needed a little bit of a pause, and we've seen that, and maybe a fresh start from here. So we continue to be reasonably positive on the structure of the market, and yes, it's interesting to see that sectors like IT services, etc., also beginning to sort of join in, and that's sort of very good news for the market.
That's right. And Anil, from here on, now that it looks like the 24,000 level has been crossed for good, mostly the monsoon-related issues also looks like are tapering off in terms of the worries. How do you see that in terms of the earnings momentum coming in? We are just about to enter the earnings cycle. And then the crude prices also at about 70-odd levels, giving a lot of comfort. How do you see the scenario going into the trade in the next week and the next few sessions that we are really looking at?
Definitely some of the global aspects like crude, and coming off has been in line with a bit of a contrarian call that we had taken. And so we think that all of these will sort of become triggers for us. And hopefully, with some bit of additional supply coming in, that will be also weak, and we as a country will sort of benefit from it. That will also, inflation, etc., then hopefully it'll have an impact there. I think it's important that also interest rates start cooling off a little bit, and that will give a bit of a perspective for investors as well, and for companies. The other part is, yes, definitely all eyes are on the earnings growth. I would think that in a period where one had a lot of volatility and you had disruptions with respect to oil and pricing hikes, etc., I think even in that period we did not see really weak earnings growth. Definitely, it had come down a little bit from the previous quarter, but I think that is something which is very heartening. So from here, with some of these factors sort of going to the background, I think that we should see some bit of acceleration back on the earnings growth side, and hopefully, we'll also start seeing this attract foreign investors back to India as well.
That's the main point right now, Anil. If the foreign investors also return, and especially the crude oil prices and rupee depreciation were the key factors because of which the FIIs had really stayed off India for some time and in fact sold heavily in the last few months. Now their return is going to be extremely critical. At this particular point, Anil, which are the sectors you think are good for investment? And of course, the valuations have got beaten down because of the long tenor of uncertainty that was there. So what's really looking like a good prospect for a short-term kind of, investment in terms of 1 to 3 years?
Yeah, so I think a lot of things are broadening right now, but I would still like to go for a medium-term rather than a short-term type of view. So right from, I think, seeing a little bit of a turnaround, one, say, IT services, if you ask me, short-term, and so once it is coming out of a period of consolidation, hopefully, some of them will, come back. But I think the ones which we have been, consistent on, and we believe that will sort of do well, is looking at, say, the cables and wireless type of, sector. Now, they also are getting tailwinds from, a lot of the AI and the infrastructure that is required for it out there, the data centers, etc. Right? So there are some of these sectors which we like, which are niche. Again, one looks at sectors like hospitals. which I think is less impacted by the global side as well. Okay, we like some of it. We like our own industry, which is asset management and sort of wealth management, and so that we think also will do well for us. Sectors like renewable energy, again, like I said, data centers, etc., and we've seen some bit of a hit out there. So I think even renewable energy there. I think from here, we could also see some of the momentum coming back, maybe to even real estate,
It's
including.
already started, Anil,
Yeah,
and we are getting some positive commentary when it comes to the real estate space also, and probably competition is also increasing, even in residential space. But more later, Anil, completely out of time on this particular show with the market discussion. Thank you so much for all your expert take coming in on the market momentum. All right, let's also move